The reason for the seemingly odd effect of light going through polarised filters when they're positioned at different angles makes sense using the solution to the double slit experiment, which proves that light is always waves of energy detected in one dimension in each measurement, giving the illusion of particles. And the solution to the double slit experiment, which was verified by a simple inequality in 2019 and later with closer analysis of the twin band, covered in the video by Looking Glass Universe, which I'll link in the video description, shows that the wave function never collapses. It gets localized to a shorter range of time. So the energy propagates out in a spherical wave from every point passed in the space-time fabric, but we can only detect it in one dimension at a time. And every wave is always the sum of many smaller waves which are propagated out from every point passed in the space-time fabric. For the forward moving waves which make up the macro wave, they meet and cancel each other out at the sides and go into the rear as destructive interference. So we get an overall forward moving wave left going forward with constructive interference. So it is not the number of particles which pass through, it is the number of possible positions covered in the space-time fabric by the passing waves which we detect as light. However, with light which has passed through the filter, it propagates out as fresh waves in peak at the relative percentage dependent on the orientation of each subsequent filter. So, at 25% of the evolution of a wave from peak through to trough, the area covered is 85% the area or 85% the momentum of the wave at full peak, not 75% of particles, which you would expect if photons were particles. With polarized filters, when a photon, a wave, passes through the first filter, it is a wave which has more than 50% its full momentum in phase at that orientation, so 50% of the light waves get through. Any wave out of phase hasn't enough energy to get through. If the final filter is aligned in the same direction, then waves will be in phase at the same orientation, so all those passing through the first filter will get through the final filter. However, when the final filter is rotated 90 degrees, the waves in phase at filter 1 are no longer in phase and will get blocked, so we see no light getting through the final filter. The reason why light gets through with filters added at angles in between is because every wave that gets through is a wave that is in phase at that orientation. And the solution to the double slit experiment shows that this wave will propagate out fully in phase due to constructive interference at 100% of the energy going in. So every filter propagates out as a fresh wave at its peak, now oriented slightly different to the previous. So every added filter will do the same. With the first and final filters oriented at 90 degrees and another filter, filter 2, added between them, oriented at 22.5 degrees to the first filter, it now has 85% the momentum of the waves passing through filter 1 in phase. And now, because it is oriented at 67.5 degrees to the final filter, 15% of this will be in phase at the final filter. So 12.5% the momentum of light passing the first filter now will pass through the final filter. If it is oriented at 45 degrees to the first, then 50% of the light will get through the second filter, and 50% of this, therefore 25%, will get through the final filter, which is also at 45 degrees to the second filter. If it is oriented at 67.5 degrees relative to the first, it will have 15% of the light passing the first filter now passing through to the final filter, which is now at 22.5 degrees to the second filter, so it will have 85% of this 15%, so 12.5% the momentum of light passing the first filter now will pass through the final filter. Then if we add more filters while filter 2 is oriented at 22.5 degrees to the first, the next filter, filter 3, added at 45 degrees relative to the first, will be oriented at 22.5 degrees relative to filter 2. So we'll have 85% of the momentum in phase relative to filter 2, which is about 72% the momentum of the first filter. And being oriented 45 degrees to the final filter, about 50% of the momentum of these waves passing through the final filter, which is approximately 36% the light of filter 1, will get through the final filter. When a fourth filter is added at 67.5 degrees to the first, it will have 85% the momentum of filter 3, which is approximately 66.5% of the momentum of the waves passing filter 1. So the light now passing the final filter oriented at 22.5 degrees to filter 4 will have 85% of the 66.5% momentum passing through filter 4. So approximately 56.5% of the light passing through filter 1 will pass through the final filter. And if we add more filters at smaller angles, more light will get through following the same proportions relative to the angle of the previous filter. The maximum momentum of light will, however, always be less than 100% of the first and less than 100% of every subsequent filter passed, no matter how many filters are added. In effect, what John Bell showed is that the results we get from quantum mechanics is incompatible with the particle model. They can't be particles, they must be waves. It's not a wave function, it's waves every time. And in my other videos on Bell's theorem, I show what the hidden variables are. They are dependent on the orientation of the two detectors relative to each other, and the perspective from one detector is what determines the outcome on the other. And as you will see in that video, the statistics of quantum mechanics are exactly what we would expect from logic. And in effect, ultimately, John Bell proved that the particle model is incompatible with quantum mechanics. It's the wrong interpretation of quantum mechanics. Neo-string theory is the correct interpretation. Wave mechanics and vortex mechanics. The equations of 1 through 7 are vortex equations, which I explain in another video, which show that the forward moving wave of the photon gets twisted by curvature and pressure into a rotating wave, a vortex, detected as an electron. The photoelectric effect was interpreted incorrectly by Einstein. It's a photon being converted into an electron being sent off, not an electron knocked out of the electron shell, which I also explain in other short straight to the point videos.